Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to All the Noise. Hopefully, they won't be doing any like power sawing right overhead, at least for the next hour. Hi, Michelle. I have not forgotten about you in the denim. We cleaned out some big furniture out of the garage this weekend, so I should be able to get to those boxes soon. Hey, Big Mama Sandy Moore. Happy to see you here today. I am half brain dead because construction going on, and every day there's like another decision, another question, another, oh, that wasn't going the way I thought it was. So it's a little bit stressful around here, but we are trying to roll with it. And let's see here, let's switch to this. Yeah, so of course when things are kind of making me a little bit crazy, I go to French knots, right? Hey, wow, Martha, I had just an absolute brain stoppage there. You know what? So these are just some little bits of circles of felt because I'm gonna start working on my terrariums. And I don't know, there's a few ways that I can work on that. I can create them, and nothing feels like the right way that I want to do it yet. So I can at least start off with a base of French knots. I have my dirt, but then, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to attach things, and maybe going to have to grab Kat when she's feeling better. Kat, if you're lurking, hey there, and do some brainstorming with her. Yeah, construction workers and not termites. It's been really nice. They said that the wood was not in as bad of shape as they anticipated. So that is really good. Hey, Joanne, I'm glad to see you here today. Hopefully you're getting a break from the heat. Terry said, my desktop has decided that I'm not a member. Technology. Hubby went and fixed a friend's computer yesterday, had to do something to mine before I could go live today. Oh, I knew I was going to wish that I had a smaller hoop on these, but oh well, it is what it is. It is very exciting to walk outside throughout the day, though, and see things going up. Hey, Sue. Glad to see you here. Hope you're having a good week. Oh, man, so drills overhead. We'll see. If it gets too noisy, I will go ahead and sign off, but hopefully it won't be unbearable. I would say that it happens in fits and starts, but I don't know. Yesterday, poor Tally was shaking for a lot of the afternoon because of all the power saw stuff they had going on. Sandy said, lightning decided to give my computer a vacation. Oh no, the crowns. Are you calling these crowns? Because these are just little circles. These are just little circles of felt so that I don't have one of my glass jars next to me, but here, we'll give you an idea, maybe. If this was a terrarium and this was going in, then we have my base. Oh, in the chat, there are crowns in the, let's see, chat has, oh, maybe that's a moderator. Does Terry have a crown? Who has a crown? If Terry has a crown, it's because she's a moderator, although if she's not in on her normal. Oh, lately chat has royal crowns available to people who financially. Oh, so when they do a super chat. Yeah, gosh, I haven't had a super chat in years. I think I've gotten maybe, $10 in super chats over the years, and that was maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, that is an option on when you're watching people that you want to support, is that you can do a super chat through YouTube and make a donation to them, which is always appreciated. But, it's, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard. I do need to figure out some ways to bring some dollars in, though. But I don't think super chat's going to be it. No, it has nothing to do with the amount of commenting. If Sandy does a lot more chats and is mods in various places, so she would know more about it than I do. So super chat, there should be, I'm not on YouTube, I'm in a different program. So I don't have it showing up there. But as I recall, it would show up as an option, what, Sandy, below the chat, where you could, where it just says super chat. Hey, Wendy. Nothing to do with the amount of commenting. Commenting, you could like make 0 comments and you could still do a super chat. And then one of the options, as I recall from, like I said, it's been years since anybody did that for me. There were stickers or things. So maybe when you make a super chat, I know there were certain, no, you didn't hit the dollars, Terry. That wasn't it. Hi, Phyllis. Somebody new for us to say hello to. She says, nice to meet you. New subscriber, but I have been binge watching your videos. You're a pleasure to watch. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'll apologize in advance if you just came over. We're having construction going on, so there may be a lot of noise in the background, but hopefully the guys will go to lunch pretty quick. We are a pretty happy, easy-go-lucky group, and we always want to know, what is your medium of choice at the moment, because we all bounce all over the place, right? And where are you located? What do you love to do, and where are you located? If you feel comfortable sharing. If you do not feel comfortable sharing, 0 pressure. We kind of roll with it. But Terry, you don't have to worry. You didn't press any dollars. It's something that you can do. I was misspoken when I said something about moderators. There are, like some of the people, like the big tech guys that are like streaming, I don't know. I'd say important stuff, but this is important stuff to us, right? They're streaming stuff that has like, I don't know, thousands of people in the chats, and they have millions of subscribers, and those people use those super chats for that kind of thing. So there's no rhyme nor reason to what I'm doing with these. This is just one of my favorite yarns. Oh, it's so soft. I wish you guys had touch-o-vision so you could feel it. It feels like cashmere. It's actually a wool silk combo, and it's just, and this is an easy thing to do while they're up there hammering away on the new rafters for the new roof. So what is everybody working on today? And who has, if you're in the United States, 4th of July plans? We are going to go to a block party here in the neighborhood. And last year, Tally did not seem to be bothered by the few firecrackers. We're lucky that we don't have a lot going off. Yeah, the circles are a way for me to start. Even though this might be the bottom of say, one terrarium, it's going to need a lot more around it and over. And I've been looking at my inspiration pictures and thinking about some different ways to do them. Mostly I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to attach stuff to the base of the jar. I'd like to not have to use something really icky smelling like E6000, but I might have to. I don't know. And some of the bowls I have are very small openings. So I realize now the next time I go looking for things, I'm going to be looking for some bigger ones. A friend brought me some bigger ones. I have 24 bowls at the moment. Wendy said, hubby wants to buy me yarn to make a blanket. Big lady trying to do cartwheels around the house. Woohoo. Yes, hubby. Martha says, I'm making a large felted mushroom with 2 owls peeking out. Oh, Phyllis, we're sending you some hugs and some healing vibes. She says, no problem. I live in New Jersey right now, not doing much but watching, soaking up the inspiration, we call it. Stage 4 cancer. I'm so sorry to hear that. And a torn rotator cuff. Ow. Hope to start stitching soon. Oh, torn rotator cuff pain. Well, I hope that we can help you escape for a little while. No, no cloche. Where's Tanya, my expert? Oh my goodness, the noise. Sorry, guys. Michelle said I've made about 15 stitching over wood pieces with different words. Nice. I've seen a few of those on the group. Wendy said also still patching my daughter. Patching her quilt. Patching her daughter. I thought you were going to have like a Frankenstein daughter. Love and hugs to you from South Africa, Windy. That's letters to sunflower, Phyllis. So yeah, I've got some of those bubble jars. I had bought some from Michael's a couple years ago, and then I have a friend that goes thrifting in areas outside of my place, and although she did find these close to home, and she found me a few in different sizes. So more looking like bubble bases. And if I can figure out how I want to build these, oh my goodness, can you guys hear me over this stuff? Can you hear me okay? Oh, wow. And all the windows are closed. They're right over the roof in this room. Hi, Barbara. Terry did garden work. Okay, you can hear me okay, good. Yeah, I should have switched to the other mic. At least that would have been a little better. Well, you just have some nice background. Phyllis said, thanks for all the hugs. We are great at giving you things to escape with because we get off on these different tangents. And, you know, I haven't heard from Mouse for a while. She's always our great question asker. Sue said, I'm stitching the background areas of the needlepoint clone card case I showed in the Zoom. Oh, fun. Barbara said, yes, can hear. Working. Love the sound of things getting done. Yeah, we walk outside multiple times of the day just to take a look. And, you know, it was all so much prep work to be done. And the contractor said today he didn't realize how unlevel and out of square the house was. Every rafter is being custom cut. But, you know, I got excited when I started to see the peaks. So when I could see, oh, wow, we're going to actually have peaks of a roof, which we didn't have before. That was kind of exciting. So I don't know, what glues would you guys use to glue, say, fabric or fiber to glass? I know E6000 would work, but I'm not sure what else would work. I'm afraid if I just create them like on a pillow type thing that would wedge in, I'm not so sure that they would stay. They might shift over. I don't know. But I've got lots of ideas for the little terrariums at the bottom, and I just want to figure out how I'm going to get all the stuff in. And I've been in the, you know, when I'm not doing this with you guys, I am working on white pieces. I'm doing a lot of components, getting a lot of components ready for a series of the whites, which is kind of exciting. It kind of all came together. And it's like, okay, so it's nice to be able to go back and forth. I now have a title for the series for the whites, a title for all the colors, and then of course the wildscapes for all the nature. The fabric that I have this on back there is a little bit tighter weave than I would have liked for this, but oh well. And of course I grabbed big needles just because they were what was closest. And I swear, just basic thinking right now is frustrating. Oh, Sue, that's a good idea. I could use carpet tape, that double-sided tape, to stick it in there. I hadn't even considered that, so thanks for that suggestion. Oh, sure. Well, you know the wildscape, so that's where all the nature things land. And the color ones are going to go under the heading of Chromolog, which is an invented word, I think. But it's because it's a dialogue in colors. So the wildscapes for nature, and then Chromolog for a dialogue conversation in color. And then the whites are going to be called vestiges. So they'll each have individual titles, but they will go under that heading. And I'm kind of, I'm kind of excited thinking about them coming together. Let's see, get one where it's actually on camera. I can do this here. I just kind of want to get some French knots holding them down, and then I can, I don't know, do some other stuff on them. Yeah, and I, you know, because I still, although working strictly in one color isn't my automatic go-to, you know, like I've got the purple ones, I've got some of the other ones that I'm partway done on, and I do still enjoy those. So I wanted to have a container for those. So I've got a little description of the 3 categories, and then I was going to do just the one white piece because I had this old piece that just I had stalled on, and I finally figured out what to do with it, and I started making more components, and I had so many I thought, oh well, I could make a second one. Well, if I make more than one, then I need to have a series title. So that's nice because that gives me, over time, over years, as I create a body of work, I have places they can all, go. And, someday, I mean, my dream, of course, is to have a solo show somewhere. So someday, one of those will be there. And I've been experimenting with the crochet hook. Crochet is not something that I've ever done much of, but I played around with a few things and trying just to get some different textures. I really need to make some more YouTube videos and explain some of these things. But honestly, the whole, construction thing, just your brain just gets fried with all of this. And then going through all the stuff of getting the home equity loan, that was just frustration. Barbara, what are you doing lately? And this is actually starting something new, but it was easy for me to not have to think about. But I do want to get the different colored pieces out, and they're small enough that I can start finishing them. I was all excited to use my new Lowry work stand that I got for holding huge pieces so that I could do like another really, really big one. But they sent the wrong parts, so I'm now waiting for the rest of the parts to come over from the UK. We haven't been doing much cooking during all the construction because there's been all this stuff coming down in between our beam ceilings. And I think that's also added to the frustration. It's like life isn't normal. Hubby doesn't get to cook that much. Barbara said, this may sound strange, but I'm braiding my DMC threads and hanging braids onto the big rings. I used to do that years ago. I used to keep my crewel thread in braids. Martha said, Sue, you are good at naming your artworks. Thank you. From all my years in writing, I honestly could not start a book until I had a working title for it. Once I had a working title, even if it was going to change before it was published, I had to have some kind of a title. Then I could settle down and go to work. And I'm finding the same thing is true about art. So even though I know I'm going to be working on individual white pieces and I only have one title in mind for multiple pieces, knowing that they can all go under that category of vestiges helps me like focus in on stuff. Oh, Michelle, you're going to make me hungry. She said, I just had a cheese enchilada. I don't get lunch until I'm done here. Then I get lunch. But it's not going to be a cheese enchilada. Sandy says, that's the way I am. I have to have the story before I can make the cover. Yeah, there's just something about feeling a little more connected to it. So now that I know, the whites and neutrals are going to be vestiges, it does kind of help me figure out where the titles are going to go. I mean, I know the one big piece I'm working on first to finish off this other one is The Shape of Silence. And so I know that title for that one, but now I have 4 or 5 other titles that may or may not work for some of the smaller ones I'm doing in whites. There's some people that, they don't want to title their work, or they'll just say, 1, 2, 3. But one thing that I know about titles, whether it's on a poem or a book or a piece of art or a song, is you can sort of lead the viewer in a certain direction if that's something you want to do. I mean, if it doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. But for me, I want to help them feel connected in the way that I am to a piece. So a title can do that. Michelle said, Barbara, my threads are a mess. I keep grabbing new packs. Sometimes that's easier. I have so many skeins of yarn that I have to cake until before I can use them. And I haven't set the time aside because, you just sit there and twirl the little thingy. But I need to do that. It's tons of skeins to keep. I probably have like 25 that I want to cake so that I can use. Michelle is saving bits of thread to stuff in a netted butterfly. Oh, that sounds cool. All right, this is good. This is just getting these down so I will see, because of course I'll cut the big ones off. Let's see, I have a really long, get me so organized. I even had needles threaded before I came on. All right, let's see. Can I move this over any? I need to take some time and clean off my desk. I really do. Magpie. Oh, Sue says, sounds like a TV watching activity, caking yarn. Yeah, except that the setup, the only place I found to make it work is in the studio. So, and there's no TV in the studio, to figure out what I can hook because I need 2 places for 2 clamps. Barbara said, Michelle, I haven't ever tried this before, braiding and cutting them. Jerry Bellini showed us, and I thought it might fit for the way I work. There was a way years ago, 40 years ago, when I sold stitchery kits, they used to teach us how to do a braid to store our things, and you could just pull out one thread. Sometimes it's just fun to try something new. Yep. That's what the crocheting has been for me. It's just been really fun making these little, the video I watched was for crocheted buttons, but they kept looking like these wonderful little puffs. And it's similar to the effect you get if you, wrap something, or if you have it, if you have a ring down and you wrap over and over it, but it gets taller. And so it gives a little bit more texture. And now I'm playing with leaving the ring open and making it more like a little cup, which is giving a different texture. So the thing is, you have to be willing to do that kind of play experimentation and be okay with using up some of your good materials. If it doesn't work out, it's like, oh, well, so I've had to, toss some aside and say that'll make good stuffing because I can't use it for what I thought I could. And I've been working with a lot of the sparkly yarns. So I just sent Broke Mary's a very big order on Etsy. She's great for if you use the ice yarns. Unfortunately, they have discontinued one that I absolutely love. So I'll be lurking on eBay and Etsy to see if anybody has any more of it. So she sent me the last one she had. So I had to find some different sparkle yarns, which then I'll have to experiment with again, because each yarn is going to do something different. I could take 10 different yarns and make French knots out of them using the same needle on the same fabric, and they're going to look different. And that's what I really love about using these different materials. Whoops, don't want that tied in. Barbara said, I'm wrapping the skein around a 10-inch piece of cardboard, then tying the top with twist ties. I'm hanging the color number and size at the top, then putting the finished braid onto a silver ring. Nice. Yes, sparkle yarn. Lots of sparkle. Oh, wait till you see the white ones. So much sparkle. Michelle said, I like getting excited about new projects or ideas like the slow stitching on wood pieces. I keep buying different wood shapes from Amazon. Can't help it. Yeah. There's a place, Michelle, since we're still both in California, it's a driftwood place on Etsy, and they've got a pretty good deal for a variety of wood sizes as well. Hey, Kat, I've been thinking about you. She says, grateful to be here. I've missed you all. Are you recovering? How are you feeling? Are you getting the brain power yet to go back to stitch? I know it's really hard when you're not feeling well. You've got to heal. If you don't know Kat by name, she is Moss and Mushroom over on Instagram, where you can go over and see some of her beautiful work. And I bet even though Kat wasn't here at the beginning, she can look at what I'm doing and figure out what I'm working on without anybody telling her, because she's doing the same thing. Different, but same. Yeah, so I'm kind of pondering the idea of a class again. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, not quite sure how I would do it. Sue said, Michelle, are you stitching on fabric and then attaching it to the wood piece? Have you put any in your in the Facebook group? I can't remember. I know I've seen some, but it might have just been in your feed. Kat said, recovery is very slow. Brain power is coming back finally. Not quite stitching yet, but I think I will try in the next week or so. Yeah, and I'm glad that you are taking it easy and giving yourself time to recover. And I'm super glad you have such a great support spouse at home. It's tough. But some of us, like me, are spoiled to the good. It's funny, you think when you're, like recovering from something, you're like, oh, I'm going to spend all this time sitting down. I'll have time to do stuff. But if you're healing, your brain needs to heal. You are welcome, Kat. Michelle, Sue wants to know, how are you attaching the fabric glue? Hey, Tanya, there you are. So just popping in to say hi. I am in and out. Happy week. All glad you're doing knots today. Happy week to all. Glad you're doing knots today. Popping in from Bonnie, Scotland, huh? Well, I hope you're doing okay. We're going to want to see some pictures of your project, your doll that you've been working on. Sandy said, after I posted my flip through video last week, I was asked to do a couple of tutorials. Well, they are more comic relief than educational, but I got her done. Oh, and Sandy's channel is a great one to go check out, not just for the beautiful, beautiful journals she makes and now tutorials, but just because her great big old Big Mama heart pops up on the screen. And I can say old because, yeah, she's older than I am by a couple weeks. And her has a birthday coming up, where for a couple weeks she'll be even older than I am. Michelle said, no glue, I saturate. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't saturate the back with thread, although sometimes some of us do. I suture the back with thread. I kind of like the idea, saturate with thread. Yeah, you got to give your audience what they want. Well, I have not been giving my audience what they want, and I'm sorry. So I don't know. If I do tutorials for free on YouTube, then I feel like I'm not, I should be doing a class at the time for a class, and then would anybody sign it? It's this round robin, but my views have just dawned. I mean, I don't do YouTube to make the money, but it was nice when it was happening. Wendy said, now I'm back. I had to pop out as little man wasn't feeling well and had to lend a hand. Oh, no. Yes, I have a birthday coming up, too, on the 21st. I cannot believe I'm going to be 67 years old. Finally got my first Social Security check. But I feel better at 67 than I did at 57. I will say that. Well, thank PT for that. Guys are taking a late lunch, I guess, today. I know, Kat, it's crazy to be happy about something like that, but it took like 3 months before all of that came together. Oh, Martha and I are the same age. She said, I just turned 67. Well, happy belated birthday to you. It doesn't, I mean, when I was a kid, thinking about my grandmother being 67 seemed ancient. But now it's like, gosh. Yeah, I think we figured that out a while back. We are the same age, Michelle. Yes, Magpie Sue is the same as Sue Brown. Our same Sue Brown. Sandy says, so am I ish. Yeah, you are closer there. All right, let's see. We have another needle. Where can I? What about? Oh, I'm hitting something else there. I really need to clean off my desk. We'll just do them over here. It doesn't matter where I'm doing them. It sounded like Sue Brown. Yes. Sandy says, that's great, Susan. I don't know what WIT means. I needed to pass the hat to, oh, you were worried you needed to pass the hat to support my old age. Yeah. Now I'm just going to go camp out with you and Big Daddy. That's what I'm going to do. It's funny though. I mean, really, I feel better now than I did 10 years ago. And I know a lot of that's because I'm moving. I'm moving around. Sandy says, Sue, I knew it was you, you hippie chick. So yeah, next step is going to be figuring out what I want to do around the edges on these. Can we get rid of the crown? I don't know how to get rid of the crowns. It's something. Well, Sandy said that was something that people get when they donate, but nobody has made any super chats. So I don't know. I don't know anything about the crowns. Yeah, sorry. I am at a loss. It's about who's making the most comments. Oh, that is what it's about? Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Who cares? Oh yeah, the wrench. That was the moderator thing, was the wrench. So the crown. It's just the most frequent. Oh, there's a new button at the top of the chat box on YouTube. Is it something I can get rid of? Let me see. Let me go over to Studio. All right, I'll see if there's any kind of anything I can do. I don't see anything right off the top of the hat. Yeah. It's been happening all week. So yeah, I know, Tanya, I'll look into it afterwards. And unless anybody else looks at something and says, how I can get rid of it. It changes. So if someone else chats more and I shut up, I fall off the crown. Oh gosh. What is it's for kids, right? Because the kids care. Yeah. Top fans and leaderboard. Yeah. Who cares? You guys are all top fans on my leaderboard. That's all I care about. I don't understand what the point is of some of these things. It does not enrich my life. Yeah, you should have worn your Queen shirt. Yes. Yeah, but the interaction, I mean, we interact a lot. We don't need to have proof that we're interacting. The interaction is good. I mean, the best interaction for me is when people watch my older videos and I get credit for the views that adds up. But if my goal in life was to be a major YouTuber, I would be up on all this stuff. But since that's not my goal, I guess we'll just have to roll with it. All these queen shirts. I don't have a queen. I don't have shirts with writing on them. Even as a teen, that wasn't my thing. Okay. When you check the question, sign into YouTube, go to settings, select privacy in the live. Okay, I'll have to see if I can do that for a permanent thing afterwards. That sounds like a lot of holes to fall down right now, but let me screenshot this. Michelle says, I still love the Just Because books. Yeah, I was looking at one of the ones I still have, and it's like I did enjoy those, but not feeling the drive. Yeah, I know for YouTube they just want to keep more people on the platform. But, I tell you what, if seeing a crown next to their name keeps more people on the platform, they need to get a hobby. Oh, yeah, and it looks good. Interaction looks good when they want to sell ad spots. Wendy has a Queen shirt that is black with the Rock Band Queen emblem on it. Barbara said, I don't think you can set it for your stream. I think we all have to set it to opt out on our end. Nice. Okay. The felt to the base, these are just loosely, they're just getting secured to this as I put some French knots on them, because this is just the beginnings of some of the terrariums. I haven't figured out how I'm going to put them all together. You and I are going to have a chat, Kat, about how you're doing yours, maybe, if I don't figure what I'm going to want. I've got a bunch of dirt, and so I'm really happy with the way the dirt is coming together, and I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to attach things to the glass bottom of the terrariums. But Sue had a good idea about double-sided tape, so I think carpet tape will be good. Tanya said, meanwhile, these look like lily pads. Is that near the mark? Nope. They're for my terrariums. So this is not a terrarium jar, but it will go down in the base with a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's see, what did I miss? Sue said, I recently bought a magnetic needle holder. Keep forgetting to use it. Oh, I love I have magnets on my stand to hold my needles. I would be lost without them. Sandy said, mine just says Queen. I didn't know it was the band. I just thought I was special. Then teenagers told me I was cool. Then I knew. Hey, Aunt Beck, how are you doing? Michelle said, so I'm always putting my needles in my latest project so I don't lose them. Part of the fun figuring out how it goes in. It is for me sometimes. Sometimes I tend to get so much in my head trying to figure out the right way to do a project that I let myself get distracted from finishing the project, which is never good. But yeah, we'll the fun part is figuring out how to make your creation come to life. Yes. And I saw an inspiration picture today that really kind of flipped my brain about how I want to do a couple of these, at least a couple of the bigger ones. So I'm excited to play with that some more. But I realize that kind of stuff I can only do on the weekends or in the evenings, and probably not in the evenings because by then I'm just so exhausted from all the construction. Bex is better than earlier. Long story. Just so glad to be back at home. Oh, well, I hope the worst of whatever has passed for you. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to get, this won't be an exact circle that goes in there because I'll want to kind of raise some things up, but it was a starting point, which is kind of what I needed to do. I ran all my glass through the dishwasher last night with a special thing in it that would take off. Some of the stuff was really bad, and they look so sparkly. Barbara said, Linda and I are going to start making crazy quilt squares a certain size. If we each make more than one each, maybe we'll make a quilt. Michelle said, Kat, I just start. If I have a basic idea, but I do love finding new inspiration. Kat said, in art, there isn't always a right way. And sometimes we have to troubleshoot to find the right way. Yeah, I think it's more like our right way. But I know I tend to distract myself with trying to do that kind of problem solving rather than moving forward, which is why I just decided, okay, I know that there's going to be some sections with French knots in them, so I can start with this and then I will go from there. Because right now I'm busy brainstorming the big white pieces, but I wanted to start making some progress on these guys too. I have 24 glass bowls, and I'd like to find a couple more of the really big ones because right now I have a bunch of the small ones, and I have trouble working small because I just, everything is more. Beck says, Barbara, will you swap the squares so you both have additions to each squares? Michelle says, I just call it wonky if it's not the right way. Yes, wonky is a great word for that kind of stuff. Barbara said, we're each going to make squares and put them all on the same quilt. We want to use up all our scraps. Yes. Sandy said, wonky is right up there with grunge and gnarly for me. Yep. Kat said, it took me months to figure out the entirety of my terrarium pieces. We can't rush the creative process. Yes. And that's kind of why, I would say that probably figuring out my dirt took me, definitely a few weeks. And then I just kind of sat there with some of it in one of the jars saying, okay, I'm going to think about how I want to do this next. And some of the finishing pieces, I already have that idea. So now I want to figure out my base. I did one experiment that was like, not quite right. And so, it's important to find out the stuff that doesn't work quite right as well. That kind of sends you off in another direction. It's like, okay, I can eliminate that idea. But like working really tiny, like this is the inside about so if that's the inside of one ball, you can tell it's not going to be a very big one. And those are more difficult to me. The big ones are just like making a wildscape kind of, sort of. Whew, I don't know what that was stuck on. And all this is just part of getting ready for open studios and hoping that I can make some sales. Beck said, yes, I understand. Oh, but are you both going to make additions to every square? Oh, I see. So it's like, Barbara's square, Linda's square, and then they trade and they each do something on them. That could be fun. All right. Michelle says I use grungy a lot. Hydrate. All right. Let's, I don't know what I did here, but let's cut off these needles. No, yeah, they went to lunch at 12:30, it looks like, or 12:45. I think they get to a certain point before they want to break for lunch. Contractor's already made one dump run with his huge dump truck, and the other one's almost filled up again. Barbara said, no trading, Becky. We'll just complete our own, and if they pile up at all, a quilt will result. My little practice square has already become a book cover. Yeah, I tell you what, when 5:30, 6 o'clock rolls around, we get very excited at all the quiet. Michelle says, anybody dye any fabric lately? Here's a tip. Put the fabric in plastic baggie, wet it, and add the ink and squish it. Don't rinse and dry on foil. Yeah, it's really nice if you have small bits to do. You can just do the plastic bag thing. I like that idea a lot. Martha said, I try to incorporate wonky into many of my pieces. Yes, and if it's intentional wonk, it all just kind of rolls with the project. It was intentional. I meant to be wonky. Wonky happens. Nice tip, Michelle, from Joanne. Sounds like fun, said Sue. Great idea, said Martha. To me, the terrariums won't come alive until I get to my rocks, because, I love those little rocks. When the guys are done with the roof, and I know that stuff is not going to be falling down through the ceiling like it has been, because I've got plastic over a lot of stuff in the studio. I've got a lot of wood to stain. I've got a bunch of driftwood that I wanted to use in work, but it's so pale. I really wanted it darker. I've got my frames to stain. Michelle said, it's one of my favorite things. Love seeing what the color looks like. Always different. Yeah. Barbara said, Michelle, thank you. Thank you for that tip. I'm about to dye some bits of size 1 yarn for repairing my handmade socks. It's a small enough size I can add to the toes. Perfect. Yeah, I should do some dyeing now too while the weather's nice. I've got some really lovely yarns to use, but I didn't look at the picture well enough when I ordered it. And so it really looks more like baby yarn, pinks and blues mixed together. I was like, okay, I need to throw something else on there to get a color. Bye, Sandy. I sent you a text earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but if so, there was a question for you to answer when you have a chance. Barbara said, I'm writing that tip down in my vault, the place I write everything down. It is good to have a vault. Michelle says, Barb, what does your vault look like? I guess a very well-loved notebook. Well, this is good. I got these down enough that then I can start playing around with what else to build up. It's also good. I haven't been doing French knots in the evenings because I'm working on components. So it uses, even though I'm using my hands and my shoulders, it's different movements. So hopefully different body parts will hurt less. Yesterday's workout definitely did a number on my neck, shoulders. Let's see. I'm wondering. Ooh, that might be too bright. Yeah, I might need to look for a different something. Yeah, I thought maybe I had a color out here where I could add a variety in there, but no, I'll have to go back into the studio. Michelle wants to know if you have a secret code to your vault. Sue said, I moved some books around the other day. My thighs are still sore. Yeah, my gal upped my weights. So when she does that, it's like, oh, but it's good. It's good because she's keeping me limber. There's a lot. Oh, squatting is hard. Squatting really kills you. Barbara said, Michelle, my vault is a Cambridge note-taking spiral book. I colored the top of the month one color, around the edges of the page another with my archival inks. 2 days to a page. Oh, wow. You are a organized note taker. Mine ends up on scraps of anything you can write on all over the desk. And then eventually I pick them all up because I'm going to do something with them and realize I've already done half of the things that I've got little pieces of paper for. Barbara said you could do the same thing with a composition book. I like this paper better. Oh man, the paper you write on, it matters, doesn't it? It really matters. It's got to have the right feel to it. All right. That's the last of my threaded needles. So I think I can do a little bit more. And then this afternoon, this is my last commitment for the day. So the rest of the day, after I get some lunch, I am going to clean up the studio and my workspace out here. Because I have no idea how much I have of certain things, whether I can get started. Barbara said it's based on Linda Berry's daily practice in making comics or syllabus. Every page contains did, saw, heard, drew. And so I collect things in those spots every day. It's a great way to be an observer of your life. I think that's important. I don't write it down like I used to. All right, let's get this guy tacked down. Michelle says, I write a lot, but I have to use a special pen to really enjoy it each time. Oh, the pen matters too. Yeah. Barbara said the biggest plus is that no more scraps of envelopes that have gotten lost on the jelly plate. I'm trying to get better at doing more digital note taking. So I use Google Keep. And then again, I'll go back and look at stuff and realize I've done them, but at least it's written down. Or I take pictures of things. Like if there's calls, bye, Martha. We'll see you next week. Good luck on your project. Calls for art, I'll usually take a picture of the announcement of the call so then I can go back and check and see if it's something I want to enter. All right, I got a mess already on the back. Well, if you've had a good time today, or even a sort of good time today, I hope you will leave a thumbs up. It's another message to YouTube that you guys are having a good time. And maybe it'll pop up some of my older videos for folks. Tanya says, does anyone have any suggestions for a creature or subject that has to do with folklore and botany? Example, moss people. Well, green man. Good question. Michelle said, I use notes on my iPad and it goes to my calendar. Yeah, that's good too. Sue said, I just found a spot on my clothing. How did that get there? Did that the other day. I looked down and realized I'd had a bar that had chocolate in it, and there was like a drop of chocolate there, and I've been walking around with it all day. I'm wanting to start my next project and can't come up with one. Couldn't tell if that was somebody needed something at the door. I guess not. One you haven't done yet. Wicked Plants is a great book by Amy Stewart, but What? Folklore. I mean, yeah. Take a look through some folklore books and see what pops up. Have you done a green man? You've probably already done a green man. Oh, Wendy said, Tanya, what about Ents like from the Lord of the Rings? They were tree shepherds. That's cool. That's a great phrase, tree shepherds. Come on, that's awesome. Barbara said, Amy Stewart, the author of Wicked Plants, is from my town, I think. What about a twist on gnomes or fairies? Green man, flower fairies up the wazoo, moss people. Troll, have you done a troll? Could he be a and again, okay, I was talking earlier, I don't think Tanya was here yet, but titles can lead the viewer in a certain direction. So depending on what you make, it could be the gnome of blah blah blah. The tree shepherd, though, I love that. I mean, this body of a tree. Ent says I have, Tanya says I have drawn Ents but not created one. That should be something I'd think of. Thank you. On the list. Have you done a green woman? I saw one of the prize winners in Fiber Art Take Two's contest recently was the green woman. She was like laying down in a bed of flowers and moss and stuff. All right, I think this is about it for me. Time for a lot of hydration and then some relaxation with my lunch. Thank you all for hanging with me today. Phyllis, if you're still there back there lurking, we were happy to have you join us and hope you'll come back with us again next week. Everybody go off and do something creative. Be kind to yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.